wood multi-light with a molded sill, and that's good. And the roof is a shed roof. My name is Evan St. Charles, and I am an architectural historian with ARG.
How do you become a historical historian?
I got a master's degree in historic preservation from the University of Oregon.
Interesting. So when you look at these houses and these buildings, then your job is to understand exactly what you're seeing.
Essentially, I mean, we do our best from the public right-of-way, and what we can't figure out, we will pull permits for or look at old street views, Sanborn maps to kind of help us figure out what might be going on. And then front facade, actually also with a decorative surround. Front facade, vertical. Here.
So then to be an architectural historian in LA, you kind of have to learn how to speak LA architecture.
Definitely. Well, in this area, because we're dealing with mostly 20s buildings, that LA was booming in the 20s, and popular styles were more high style. So we don't get a lot of vernacular in this area. It's mostly Spanish colonial revival with Tudor and some French revival mixed in. So I think we've maybe had one or two that we had called vernacular because they really were more so, but most of these are what we would consider high style. Fully glazed with skylights, double, and paneled. Say a combination front gable, side gable.
So how long does you, on average, if you're surveying a house, how long does it take you to do the documentation you need?
You know, it depends on how visible it is from the street. If we have hedges and fences that we're trying to look through, it can be a little bit more difficult, but 5 to 10 minutes on a house, so a decent amount of time.
What is the city looking for? In terms of an HPOZ, what are they looking for in terms of documentation? What do they want?
So we're surveying all of the houses, and we look basically ultimately to determine whether the building would be a contributor or a non-contributor to a district, apart from documenting its architectural style and giving an architectural description of the windows and door types and whether or not it's a 1 or 2 story. We look for major as well as minor alterations that have been made throughout the years, and those alterations will basically help us determine whether the building is a contributor, an altered contributor, or a non-contributor.
Well, let's explore that a little bit more, because I think people get a little puzzled. What's the shorthand on what is a contributing property?
A contributing property, a full-on contributing property, is one that has very minor alterations, such as security window bars or security lights, and maybe something that is apart from the building, so landscape alterations or garage alterations. An altered contributor is a building that has endured more extensive alterations like window replacements or door replacements, or cladding or roofing, new roof materials. But for the most part, the building is still very intact, and the alterations are pretty reversible. A non-contributing property is one that the alterations are fairly extensive and they would be more difficult to reverse, such as window openings and door openings, primary facade additions. And we really do focus on the primary facade when we're talking contributor and non-contributor. If a window opening was altered on the side, we will note it, but that wouldn't determine whether it was a contributor or non-contributor. It would still be an altered contributor. It wouldn't be a non-contributor just because of a window opening on the side.
Explain to me just the record-keeping process.
Okay, we have a database that has all of the homes in the area are listed, and we go through on each home and we collect data on general description, roof and chimney. Then we go on to windows, doors.
We spent probably 2 weeks or so with Robbie to develop this, so we had it kind of exactly how we wanted. Both Mary, my other colleague who is working in the area south of Olympic, and I have spent quite a bit of time doing survey work, so we really had an idea of what type of architectural features and architectural details that we would be coming across, and we tailored the database to have all of that information as a drop-down list.
Great, and then it allows you to do a printout, or you can organize the information any way
You can make, because it's a relational database, you can do many-to-one mapping, so you can produce lots of very complex reports like an architect's list, graphs of costs to build, year-built stuff, all kinds of interesting graphics and quantifying.
And all of this information will essentially be put into DPR forms that would be in bulleted lists. So the architectural description, instead of being in a full-on sentence, it will be bulleted. And that's basically how we've made the database because of the drop-down menus.
How did you used to do it in the old days with the clipboard and paper forms? That must have taken a little more time.
Definitely.
If you look at the old surveys, they don't have much in them, and you can't do much with the stuff that's there. You can't parse it.
Now, are you photographing every property, or do you only the certain ones?
We do, because we were able to use data from Surveillay, from the city's database. We had most of the photos, since ARG had already surveyed all of the area, all of Wilshire, and we picked up a lot of this area as districts for Surveillay. And so we had our photos that were from a little less than a year ago that we were able to use for areas north of Olympic. The area south of Olympic, because we didn't pick up quite as much, most of that had to be photographed.
And how historically intact is the Miracle Mile?
It's looking pretty good. We don't have our final numbers yet because we still have about 300 properties or so to go, but definitely over 60%, and we're very happy with what we found.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.